Hey everybody, RJ Tempo here. It's going to be a different kind of video for me. I'm not one to typically discuss politics on YouTube. People who follow me on Instagram probably know where I stand on a lot of the key issues, as I do talk about it more on that platform. But to date, this will be my first and potentially only politically focused video on YouTube. Given what today is, January 20th, the second inauguration day of Donald Trump, and also Martin Luther King Jr. Day in this year, 2025. I felt now was as good a time as ever to make it very clear where I stand on a couple of things. I want you to know that I am not the end-all, be-all in any of these conversations. And more importantly, I want to encourage you to do your own critical thinking and your own analysis of what your values are and what you think matters in the world. Because what matters to me more than anything is that people actually care about politics, because politics is everything. A lot of people in my generation are extremely let down by the political system, especially in the United States, but a lot of countries around the world, people don't feel like their concerns are being addressed by the people who hold power. And I believe that that is a sentiment that is reinforced by a lot of the media that we consume, and a lot of the powerful individuals who stand to gain more power and more wealth when we, the general public, are feeling disenfranchised and hopeless and like our opinions and needs don't matter. Because it's very important for people to understand that politics isn't something that you do once a year. It's not just on voting day. And politics is not a binary conversation. It's not a team red or a team blue. A lot more nuance than that. But beyond the party lines and divisions that have been amplified, again, specifically in the United States, but not just here, I do know a lot of people who feel very strongly that one side is evil and the other one is going to save you. Neither party is going to save you. What I believe strongly in and what I've studied now is the part of the video where I do mention that I have a bachelor's degree in economics and a bachelor's degree in philosophy. That doesn't make me more qualified to talk about politics than you. I'm just a human being. But in my 28 years, I have experienced some things, and I know a lot of people who have experienced a lot of really tragic things. So what I feel strongly in is a couple of things. One, looking at the United States as kind of a litmus test here, but certainly not the only nation where this applies. Around the world, you have a select group of very powerful, very wealthy individuals who not only own the means of production, whether it be the software, the manufacturing, the brands, right? They also own a lot of the media. Media is very important in telling people how to feel, what to respond to, who the enemy is. And I do believe that a lot of people in power use that consolidation of wealth and power to propagate their own self-interests. And when you look at a lot of political parties, again, not only in the U.S., a lot of political systems around the world are designed to allow wealthy people to influence elections via donations. You have in 2024 the most money that any organization spent in donations to political candidates, that being AIPAC, which is a super PAC of, in this case, pro-Israeli business and other institutions that were very, very dedicated to ensuring that candidates in this case, the U.S. Senate and House of Representatives and White House would be willing to placate genocide. And that is what Israel is doing and has been doing for quite a while in Gaza. Now, not to make this video completely about that topic, though it is a very important one, there is a continuing issue in a lot of nations where those who have money, those who have power in the media, have the unique ability to dictate laws and policies. And it is very important for you to understand that as a member of the general working class, the 99% of people who don't own entire broadcast channels, magazines, billion-dollar corporations, and seats in the cabinet or in the Senate, on an individual level, what we can do is limited by how much we are able to work with each other. Because in the U.S., again, using that as kind of an example here, there's been an expansion of an individualistic mindset that often pits people against each other. They want you to believe that no matter how hard you work, you can make it out of the system, and other people who are homeless or are struggling simply didn't work hard enough. That's a lie. It's a lie designed by people who can profit off of homelessness, can profit off of private prisons, and can profit off of people having to rent for their entire lives instead of building equity in their own homes. There are a lot of issues, whether it's climate change, whether it's the housing crisis, whether it's inflation. There's a lot of people getting thrown in jail for crimes they didn't commit. There's school shootings. It's just the general degradation of our public infrastructure, roads, bridges, our electrical grid. All of these societal goods, these public goods, housing, healthcare, are all being privatized. They are all being designed in such a way that your claims are denied, whether it's a car accident, whether it's cancer, whether it's some other terrible thing that has happened to you in your life. Your company could lay you off, not because you didn't do a good job, but because their shareholders saw fit to cut 10% of the workforce, just so that they could make some extra money at the end of the year. I've seen these things happen to people that I love. People I know who work full-time, who have college degrees, who work good jobs that can't afford to live on their own and have to go back and live with their parents, and they work full-time. People who are living paycheck to paycheck and can barely afford groceries because the cost of groceries has skyrocketed over the last couple of years, not because those groceries are inherently more expensive to make, but because, executives stand to make money on increasing prices. You see this in the tech sector. You see this in housing. You definitely see it in healthcare. And at the core of these issues is a class war. It's a class war that's been going on for a very long time. You have now a period of wealth inequality that mirrors the French Revolution, which is to say the most wealthy individuals now have as high a percentage of the overall wealth as the aristocrats did in the time of the French Revolution. So many people all around the world that are working more than 40 hours a week can't afford to have a modest, normal, small place to live. They can barely afford food, and they definitely can't afford healthcare in the U.S. at least. But those people are all being pitted against each other based on their opinions on trans rights, immigration, identity politics at the end of the day. And because media is owned by the individuals, the oligarchs that also are making money on war, on healthcare, on technology, and all of the data that they siphon from you on a day-to-day basis, they engineer a lot of talking points to keep you pointing your finger in the other direction. So without going too deep into any one specific issue, I just want to let you know that I think in the next couple of years, with Trump coming back into office, with escalating fascism all over the globe, a continuing consolidation of wealth all over the globe, we are going to find that some of these finite resources, water namely, are going to become harder and harder to come by, and people are going to continue to privatize water, land, healthcare, and other resources that previously in human history were communally shared and offered. I'm going to go back to making some music, but just remember, musicians, teachers, nurses, construction workers, everybody that you know is allowed to have an opinion on politics, and you should have an opinion on politics because politics is everything. What you do or what you don't do, who you vote for, or what you're silent about allows people to profit off of your inaction, your silence. Today being Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I want to remind everybody that while his message has been co-opted by big business to just point at his arguments around race, which we still have not fixed racism, guys, people conveniently leave out that he was staunchly anti-capitalist. I am staunchly anti-capitalist. I wrote a 30-page thesis paper on it. And I really do believe that with escalating fascist, Christo-national fascism in America and how that is intermingled with capitalism, people really do need to see that your ability to own anything is being stripped away. They want you to be renting, they want you to be subscribing, and they want you to be in debt. I haven't even talked about student debt. Crazy. They want you to be in medical debt. Crazy concept. And they want you to constantly believe that other people in your socioeconomic class are your enemy based on the color of their skin or how they choose to express themselves. They are not your enemy. They are actually your closest ally in this, because together we are far stronger than them. They need us more than we need them. So this is not explicitly me calling for a strike tomorrow, but if one should pick up steam, I will be on the front lines. I think that we need to stick together and offer each other mutual aid, support, and understanding. And most importantly, recognize that Republican or Democrat, these politicians are not really here to support us. Most of them, I can throw a bone to a few progressive members, but for the most part, they are all bought out by the prison industrial complex, the military industrial complex, private healthcare, private prisons, the list goes on. If you are not in a position to profit off of the exploitation of others, you are being exploited, and so is everybody else in your neighborhood. So remember, they are not the enemy. The enemy is individuals who could end world hunger and still be billionaires. They choose to not do that for a reason, and I believe that they are pretty evil for that. So, yeah, everything is political. Not having a political opinion is political, and it tends to favor the oligarchs that profit off of your work. So remember that your paycheck is never the amount that you're actually producing. Your surplus value is always going to go to your bosses' shareholders, and take care of each other. My next video will be an unboxing of my new Tamistar Classic kit. Should be a fun one. Hope to see you there. Thanks, guys.